everyone. Today we have with us Thomas Paul, Varnika Chaudhary, and Chhavi Jain from National Law University, Jodhpur, who emerged as the winners of the third NALSAR-CCI Antitrust Moot Court Competition 2024. Firstly, big congratulations to you for your success in this prestigious competition. Before we begin talking about your journey, I request you to please introduce yourselves to the audience. Please.
Hello, so I am Varnika Chaudhary. I've just finished my second year at NLU Jodhpur and I'll soon be starting my third year. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Thomas. I'm studying in NLU Jodhpur. I've currently finished my third year. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Chhavi and I've also completed my second year. I'm pursuing law from National Law University, Jodhpur.
Great. Thank you. To start off the discussion, please tell us about the structure of this competition and about your team composition to begin with.
So the structure of the competition was that first there would be preliminary rounds, then the quarters, semis, and then the finals it was. And the team, it was three of us, I, Thomas, and Chhavi. Chhavi as the researcher, and I and Thomas were the speakers. And our coaches were from our own college. They were our seniors. So that was the basic team composition.
Right. When did you start?
Yes. We also had I think we had to send a memorial. So there was also a memorial qualifier.
Yeah.
Right. So when did you start preparing for the competition? How many months of preparation got the trophy, so to say? And can you also break down your preparation journey for us in terms of your research strategy for the memos and your oral round strategy?
So we got the competition. You want to go?
No, you go.
We got the competition allotted to us in January, and we started working almost from there, starting like some pre-readings, the basic statutes and stuff. And then we really got into it by the month of February, mid and all, where we started making the memos and submitting the draft to our courses for review. And we had a couple of discussions with the professors and all, who gave us really valuable inputs regarding the memos and the issues that are put forward to us. So that is one aspect of it.
So it was actually regarding the preparation strategy, it was actually quite late when the results for the memorial qualifiers were declared, but we had started our oral rounds prep. The memorial prep was mostly with the research in the case laws, and we also did read through articles, research papers, etc. While for the oral rounds, we started preparing around, I guess, 15 days prior to the competition. So, and for our oral prep, it was mostly our own coaches, and we also took help of some external people, and also we took help of our professors at college. So it was very helpful, I'd say. That was the prep.
That's what covers it.
Right. As in when you progress to the subsequent rounds, your approach changes according to the feedback that you get from the judges primarily, also from your mentors and even your peers. So how did your approach to preparing for the subsequent rounds changed from the one you went to the competition with?
I'd say that it's very important in a competition like a moot court that you pay heed to what the judges say and also to your opposing team. So we did listen to them and we did take the feedbacks from them. And it was, I'd say here that Chhavi was of great help, our researcher. We would research after every round also, and every day we would come back to our ACO, we would research and prepare for the next day. So for example, there were certain things that the judges would point out, and we would research about it and then try to include them in our arguments for the next day. So I guess that's how you change your arguments or change your strategy accordingly to how the rounds went and the feedbacks.
Yeah.
Just to add one more thing, one aspect that we found out during the competition, after competition progress, was regarding the procedural aspects of the competition act itself. We were not very well versed with it when we came to the competition, but as we mentioned, Chhavi had fully researched about that when we went there, and so we kept on, after each round, we kept on learning from her how the procedural aspects of the statute actually worked, and the judges had questioned us a lot in the latter rounds of the competition.
Exactly. So I think when the judges ask questions to us and the opposing team, that actually gives us insights on how we can argue it better from both sides. So not only questions posed to us, but to the other sides, and what the other side argues is actually very important.
Can you share any memorable courtroom moments or highlights from your experience in the competition?
I think it was the finals, which was very special to me
Yes.
because I remember that it was we gave our semis and then we just came to the waiting room and we just got the results and immediately we were asked to go for the finals. So for every round, and we just gave the round from the opposite side. So it's kind of difficult to jump from one side to other because you get into that side to the root of it. And suddenly we had to, and even during the other rounds, you get a little bit of time at least to prepare and get into that zone. But for the finals, we had no time. And we so really wanted to get some time. We even tried to request to the OC, but of course, it was not possible. But then we went, and I think our preparation, our strategies, whatever we had planned, it worked out, of course. So that is, I guess, finals were the most amazing and memorable for me.
I think for me also, it was the final rounds because, as Varnika mentioned, we had a very short span, and also for the third issue, from this in the semifinals, Varnika had handled it, and in the finals, Thomas had, and I was explaining it to him. Everybody was quite anxious, but we got our nerves settled down, and then we did the round.
Yes, Thomas.
I think, of course, the finals was also memorable, but I think was it in the preliminary rounds? I think just when we were about to go before the rounds, Chhavi had pointed out that the other party had actually wrongly implicated one of the parties. And so that was one of the first things that I mentioned when I started my arguments. And right then and there, the judges started to laugh a lot because it is something that they had also not expected for the opposite party to come and say that, okay, the other team has wrongly implicated one of the parties. So I believe that must have given us some brownie points over there at that stage. That was a very memorable experience.
Definitely. Beyond legal arguments, what non-traditional skills or approaches do you believe were crucial to your success in this competition?
I think that as we already talked about, that how important it is to hear what the judges say and also your the team you're competing with, because of course you have your legal arguments prepared and everything, but I think that perspectives in law and especially in a moot court matters a lot, and you get perspectives. The more you listen to different people, different coaches, or maybe the judges or your own fellow participants, it's very important. So that is something that we did stress upon. We would hear very carefully and would discuss after each rounds. So that is one approach that I think is very important in every competition.
Yeah, so before going for the competition itself, we've discussed with some professionals who are working in the field who gave us some practical insights into how the industry actually worked. And so, especially in the semifinals and finals round, we were able to give those answers to questions that the judges had posed because the judges themselves are very much experienced in the field. And when we had already taken feedback from somebody or taken input from somebody who's already very well versed in that particular industry, I believe that kind of approach really helped us a lot.
I think one more thing would be trying to stay calm and positive. Having that kind of an attitude really helps, especially when we are progressing in the rounds. So one tends to get nervous, and not only for the speakers, the researchers, the whole team. So everybody has to be quite positive, and that actually does have an impact on how the rounds go.
Right. It is imperative that you must have faced many challenges on your way to the competition. So, what were those for you? And how did you come across? How did you cope up with them?
For me, I'd say that I was facing a lot of difficulty in the aspect of time management because I remember giving so many rounds and building upon my own arguments. Every day we would change and add more into it. But a time is something which is of very importance because suddenly the judge might ask you to give a summary of 2 minutes, or maybe you do not have time, you stressed upon a lot in answering the questions, etc. So this is something that I faced a lot difficulty while in the preparation. But then Chhavi also helped me, and our coaches too, and even Thomas guided me. And I would then, I had prepared summaries of 2-minute summaries, 5-minute summaries, and the same, because the arguments needs to be given, maybe like in finals you have to give the same in say 30 minutes. So you need to have a hold upon the aspect of time, so that I worked separately apart from the substantive aspect of my arguments. So I'd say that is very important thing, and this is what I did.
Yeah, for me personally, I think while drafting my issue itself, I face a lot of problems because it is a very non-conventional, unconventional kind of issue where there are not a lot of resources available. And at one particular point of time, I did not have any idea how to move forward, and I'd actually arrived at a very full stop over there. But later I talked to one of my professors. That's when I found out that one of my professors had also some experience in the same issue that I was dealing with, and discussing with him really helped me move forward with the uh, drafting of the issue. And further, when it came to the oral rounds, also time management was a very severe issue that we faced in the beginning with regard to how to incorporate all our points and how to keep the important points and then just keep the rest of the points as answers that judges might pose as questions. So, but with the help of our coaches and all, we were really able to tackle this.
For me, I think that while I was drafting, I had a procedural issue. So I did come up with a few arguments and I did discuss them, but some of them, not all of them, actually ended up being legally sound. So I had to scrap them off and get some new ones. So I had to talk to professors for the same. And along with that, I think there was one point, I think team work is something very important, because when we were submitting the memorial, that was a very panic tension moment. And along with that, when I was making the compendium, because it was again in a very small time frame, I had to make them. That was something, I think, teamwork and legal drafting.
Yeah, that's one thing I forgot to add. Like the compendium that we made in the competition that Chhavi had compiled, it was very useful for us in the competition to help refer the judges to where to actually look or where you might find the reference to that. So I believe that helped us a lot in the oral round.
Lastly, what learning did you take back home, and what advice would you give to law students aspiring to participate in such competitions?
I think one biggest takeaway is that practice is very important. Giving as many rounds as possible was very helpful to us. I'm so glad that we were able to give quite a number of rounds, because as I already said, that perspectives, the kind of questions each different person would ask would be different. So that is something that helped us a lot in the oral rounds. There were a number of questions that we already knew the answers of because we had given so many rounds. So we were one step ahead of them. So that is something that I'd say is very important, that you need to firstly have a very good foundation in respect of your memorial. And secondly, with regard to the oral rounds, you need to give as many rounds as possible.
I think one aspect that cannot be stressed enough is the teamwork that you have with your team. If there's no ego clashes within the team, or if everybody else is willing to work, then it goes a long way in making it to a competition like this. And I believe that is one aspect that you need to look at, the team composition and the team chemistry that is there. Further, the practice rounds that we'd given, the oral rounds, we'd given quite a couple of rounds. And as Varnika had mentioned, each person would give their own perspective of the issues, and this really helped us a lot while doing the oral rounds. So yeah.
The same thing. I feel that everyone, even if you work hard, that is not sufficient. You should have proper guidance as well. So that we got from professors and from people who are practicing competition law. And the other thing is discussion. So I feel that when you have a problem or anything, so everybody has different viewpoints, and we need to discuss. So that's how we actually got the answer to questions, and we actually anticipated questions and got the answers. So we were able to answer promptly in the round. So I think both these things, teamwork, guidance.
All right, team. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your journey with our audience. I'm certain they will benefit greatly from your insights. So keep up with the competitions and all the very best for your journey ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.